Now let's
Bill,
agree on this.
the Catholic Church has a checkered. That is putting it lightly. A checkered reputation here when it comes to the issue of how they dealt with the sexual abuse scandal.
If you want to go down that road, we have to ask the question: why did so many gay leaders in New York City demand that we keep the bathhouses open, knowing that they were the proximate cause of lethal sex?
No, you're not going to change the Catholic Church's sexual abuse scandal and the abuse of children into what gay people did in the 80s.
Into what? No. Priests. It wasn't a pedophile scandal, by the way.
No.
Both of them were homosexual priests. They, for example, we know that 81% of the victims were male. We know that 100% of the victimizers were male, and we know that the majority were post-pubescent males. That means that they weren't pedophilia involved. This was homosexuality.
Well, no, it wasn't. This was priests who are.
Why are we denying the obvious?
This was priests who are kept to such a stringent rule when it comes to sexuality, who are acting out in an institution that places them in close proximity to young people who can very easily be abused. It also attracts people who have that kind of inclination. We also saw abuse against young girls. Now, look, it's wrong no matter what, no question about it. And it may have attracted people, not gay people, Bill. And that is where you're engaging in the kind of hate you claim that these people are engaging in, right?
Here's the difference I have with you. I cite you a vile thing that is said about the Pope, and you come back and you say, well, the Catholic Church has had some dirty laundry.
That's right. Because the issue is what the Catholic Church did about it. I think everything those men did was wrong, whatever their sexual orientation.
Mike, let's just say for the sake of argument that there's more than a kernel of truth to what you just said. I could say the same thing about every demographic segment of the population which has this dirty laundry. We all know the stereotypes about Indians, about Jews, about blacks, about gays, Catholic priests, everybody, okay? So since when does that give someone the right, the moral right, to speak in a vile way about somebody? I just don't see the connection.
Well, you don't believe that the people who themselves were victims or new people who were victims you don't have any sympathizing for them lashing out at this man who allowed this to go on? You don't know who those people are. They could know people who were abused.
How do you know that the person who made that comment about the Pope screwing the kids was the victim?
I don't know that, but you don't know that they didn't know people. People have very passionate feelings about this. But here's the issue. How on earth does that comment on a blog hurt the most powerful Christian Catholic man in the world who runs a global multi-nation empire? How does that hurt him?
Oh, it won't hurt him at all because he won't even know.
Okay, so then why do you get all up in arms about it?
I think it offends Catholic sensibilities, and I would hope that the Democratic National Committee would have more sense themselves, than to invite people in who want to engage in that kind of rhetoric. I think you should be above the belt. And in fact, they're below the belt.
But they're not going. The people in the comments are not going. The people who are going are people who serve news to people. You know, the blogs are free forums. People can express their own point of view. You still haven't addressed, though, that the fact that the Pope is the head of an organization that protected abusers, moved them to new churches to abuse more kids. Come on, Bill. And that was horrendous.
You know, when you talk about, if somebody makes a sweeping comment about this is the way gays are, or blacks or anybody else, people rightfully say, wait a minute, do not generalize from the individual to the collective. Why is it that we have a handful of priests who went off the deep end and some bishops who were the enablers, who were, in fact, as I would clearly say, were a disgrace to the Catholic Church?
Okay. I get you on that. Look, there's something else I want to ask you about.
Go ahead.
When I had criticized the Pope back in 2001, you wrote something in the alert that, frankly, my mother would see as profane. So you come out against profanity, but then you wind up engaging in this kind of thing. You wrote in your alert, I criticized the Pope for saying that homosexuality is intrinsically disordered, and you wrote in that alert, We're disappointed with Mike. We never thought that anyone who has had as much practice as he has in turning the other cheek would ever write such an intrinsically disordered article. What did you mean by that, turning the other cheek?
Well, you know exactly what I meant, but you didn't take it. You don't like to be jagged?
Well, that's profane to a lot of people. You're mocking gay people. You're mocking gay people. You're mocking gay people and their sexuality. You're using sexual innuendo, and you're bringing something into people's minds that, quite frankly, according to you, is disgusting. Right? Why are you doing that?
I'm having some fun, and you know it. In other words, now all of a sudden you got the sensitivity police on your side.
Well, you're the one who's attacking everybody else for just having fun. We're having fun saying this. The Pope looks like Santa Claus, and Jennifer Lopez wore that.
Well, see, that's just it, Mike. When you mentioned the Santa Claus thing, it was in that second sentence, the one you left out about the kid fucking. That was very cute.
We're just having fun.
I got you on that one.
We're just having fun. You know? There you go. You just made that comment about me. Don't you think my mother would be horrified by your conjuring up that image about me?
I don't know. I have nothing against your mother. I'm not going to answer.
Yeah. Well, I think it shows, though, Bill, that when you want to be profane, and you know what I wrote in response? I said, you seem to be a tad obsessed with that cheek action.
Yeah, I know. And I thought that was on the same level that I did. That's a cute little jab. I mean, I didn't feel upset.
All right. Bill Donohue, thank you for coming on today. Very interesting discussion.